Ugh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. We're back live once again for another night's worth of action here at Suzuka, the land of the rising sun, ready for the Pro-Am Championship. And what a night of racing we have. Track at the minute currently still fast, 17 session here just ahead of the guys tonight. And I really do think it is going to be a struggle this evening for them.
So I feel like, yeah, they were terrible set. We got the right settings now this time. Good old Discord. No, not Discord, Streamlabs. That's the one. But we are live and we are ready to go here at Suzuka for the next round of the season, week 9, rounds 17 and 18 for the Pro-Am Championship. The first night race of 2 to come. Said a fun night worth of racing heading towards us at the moment. The way the format works here tonight for the Pro-Ams and for the Pros, it will start with a sprint race first things first, based on a championship reverse grid order, and that will also that will be split as well. So the way the GT3 works, we have 4 classes: bronze, silver, gold and platinum. And obviously, the top of the pro and the platinums are at the top of your championship. You'll see them in white. Gold is then the silver drivers in the pro class. In Pro-Am, the silver numbers that you see to the left-hand side of the screen, they are your silver drivers, and in the red are the bronze drivers. And obviously, the way that it's going to work is the silvers will start to the front, and the bronze will start to the back of the pack. Then we will reverse the grids in their separate classes. And that is where they will be starting. And you see a couple of guys out on the circuit right now getting a few tweaks and changes done. The home of the land of the rising sun. And I believe it's Honda's home circuit. I believe Fuji is Toyota, if I'm correct. So this is the home of the Honda. And in Pro-Am, there is no Hondas. We will see a Honda tomorrow night, though, in the Pro category for its home race. But at the minute, it's Vita setting the pace, and Williams now going to P3 in that Lamborghini. We've got Wolski there in P4 as well. Varga making a return once again. And regarding the championship standings, it looks like this. Langley leads the way, a 58-point gap between himself and Vitas in second. 675 points for Langley, 617 for Vitas. Another 100 points back from them is Sam Greaves in P3. Then we've got Fandango in P4 with Wolski sat in P5. P6 is Unsworth with P7 going away of Flores. Varga in P8, Old Sim Racer in P9. P10 we have B. Craig. While in 11th we have Gabino. Aberdeen in 12th. While in 13th we have Ritchie. 14th is Bolton. Saunders in 15th with Argent in 16th. Smith in 17th and Taylor in 18th. Williams in 19th and Johnson in 20th. Lee 21st with Waste in 22nd. Archer 23rd. The Block 24th with Bell 25th. Betterson 26th with KLF in 27th. Atherton 28th with Wheel 29th. Stork 30th and 31st is Tucker. P. Williams in 32nd with Best in 33rd. Leach in 34th. Marshall in 35th. Goodwill 36th with Marston in 37th. Andrews in 38th. Veroth in 39th and Bosch in 40th position. Those are your drivers' standings. Regarding your teams, it is 4Q Motorsport leading the way ahead of No Gas, No Glory in second. Cloud9 sat in P3. Team Audio Sport in P4. Greasy Bandits P5. With SimPlay Racing in P6. Team Murloc in P7. Soldor Racing in P8. While in P9 is NL Racing. In 10th place is OWR Racing, while in 11th is 2Cs Racing. 12th is Alexi's Industries Racing, while Black and Blue Racing in 13th. Quantum in 14th. Rapid Rapids GT in 15th. 16th is Team GBR. 17th is Team BSR and OGR. Rounding off the grid there for the teams. And it's an incredibly tight championship at the top. Langley been pretty much leading majority of this season, but Vitus has been slowly bringing that gap down, which is nice to see towards the end of the season. And still, we've got lots to come yet this season. Tips in the chat saying good luck to all the Pro-Am drivers. And let's see you guys in the chat. Who are we looking strong tonight? Do we like the Suzuka circuit for and foremost? Do we like this track? For me, the Suzuka circuit is a nice circuit to do one laps. I don't know why I'm yawning all of a sudden. I've not yawned all day until now. Probably the late nights and early mornings that I have. But hey ho, I'm sure the action is going to be fast and exciting later on. That'll definitely keep me awake. But is this a circuit that everybody loves? For me, like I said, it's a great circuit for kind of like one laps and going as hard as you can. But I think it's a circuit that's also really bad for racing. It's never really produced some great racing. Cars just get stuck in traffic, or you end up stuck in a DRS train in Formula One. But for me, Suzuka, I would prefer to race at Fuji. At least there's more overtaking opportunities rather than Suzuka, where it's tight, twisty. An iconic circuit, don't get me wrong, but it's just too tight and twisty for me for racing. Tips in the track. I like the circuit, but I'm rubbish at it. Same. But like I said, I would prefer more opportunities to overtake. I even actually prefer the slightly different version on Project Cars 2. Grab a drink there. I think the tricky thing about this circuit is trying to nail all three sectors together, and you have to set up the car quite differently around here. As Gabino goes second now, and once again the track has not left fast. It's really struggling to get to optimum, but hopefully it'll get to optimum pretty quickly. And hopefully we shall see some great lap times. Garrett Each obviously dropping down from the Pro into the Pro-Am. See what he can do this evening in his Porsche. Maybe the Porsche could be quite handy around this circuit. Who knows, but Gary's definitely going to be trying his very best to try and work his way up the order. Right now, your two championship contenders sat in pit lane are quite comfortable and happy with their cars and with their pace. Not sure if they're running low or high fuel. We'll have to find out a little bit later on. And I think this could be a circuit that could really... it's going to be a slow burner for sure. Definitely a slow burner. So, coming to the end of this practice session, like I said, it's Vitus who's setting the pace. Gabino currently second. Excuse me. Like I said, we're just getting things underway and ready to go racing here. Reverse grid should definitely be interesting this evening. Should be an event that's I think you need a good maybe 8, maybe 9/10 of a second to really have that advantage. Gabino's had a big moment earlier on just then, and having a little mini spin as I also get the reverse grid video ready to go. But that is pretty much the end of your session, and like I said, it's Vita's fastest. A couple of cars still out on track. Argent, Gary as well. We've got Unsworth out there. Looks like he's struggling a little bit. Taylor's out there at the minute as well, and DJ Phil also. See what you can do in the Lexus tonight. I think the Lexus boys are going to struggle. Not really a Lexus circuit, even though it's in its home country. I think it is going to really struggle here tonight. I think Argent is the last one to finish the session. Possibly the BMW could be good round here, maybe. For me, I think it's looking at like maybe the McLaren might be a very good circuit car around here. The Ferrari as well, I think, with good downforce and stable as well, able to change direction and be able to take the corners much smoother and transition quite smoothly. But as I said, only time will tell as we now come to the end of the practice session. And all the drivers lining up on the grid here for the first sprint race of the week. Obviously still with the pros tomorrow night. Make sure, guys, you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. If you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to our sim grid. When you go to the sim grid, you get yourself signed up and ready to go racing here at SimPlay Motorsport. This gives you the opportunity to then put you into separate classes. Once you then get into the Discord and into the server, then you will be asked to do a hot stint. Once you've done the hot stint, then with that we will be able to put you in the correct category, and from there it will allow us to put you in either Pro or Pro-Am, and obviously depending on the class as well. And just as we're about to get racing here, we will get a poll going for your sprint race winner. As we now wait for the cars to leave the grid. 10 seconds till they move away. Two McLarens on the front row by the looks of things, and Lee has he made the start? Yes, he has. It's just Williams that's out of place, and that's because we've got a car missing by the looks of things. As they now pull away, I will try and get this going as fast as I can, so then we can go through the grid order. So there's your poll on who you think is going to win this first race. Let's get the grid going. And here is round 17 and 18. Your grid order, it should be Jacko on pole position with Bosch in second. And from there we should have Vareth and Lee making up the second row. On the third row should be then Williams and Taylor in 5th and 6th. And it should be on the 4th row Argent and Saunders, the two BMW drivers. Row 5 is going away of Aberdeen and Gabino. Row 6 is Craig and Old Sim Racer. With row 7 going away of Varga and Flores. Row 8 we now look at will go the way of Unsworth and Wolfsky. Row 9, the two Lexuses of Fandango and Greaves. Row 10, your championship contenders, Vitas and Langley, sharing the row 10 with those guys. Now we're into the bronze. It's going to be Tucker and Atherton for row 11. Row 12 will be Betterson and Bell. And then we should have in 25th Archer, 26th Smith. And then Gary Leach rounding out the back of the pack. And that is your grid order here for the sprint race at Suzuka. The majority reckon already that Bosch is going to win this first race. So as they get themselves all prepped and ready to go here. We're going to go on the helicam because that usually gives us all the great action at the beginning of the race. Corner chat evening all should be a good one tonight. All being well, I should be back on the grid next week at Laguna. Hopefully we will see you back, Paul, and it'd be nice to have you back on circuit once again. Fingers crossed we shall see you back there. Come on guys, support your drivers. We're about to get things underway here for the first race this evening. The fourth race we've had this week. Obviously the Darren Cup did their races, did their event, and now it's time for the Pro-Ams. Track temperature 26 degrees, track is still fast, so it's going to be very, very slippery out there. Peaceful step there saying good evening everyone and good luck tonight. And indeed the luck is going to be needed as they head up towards Casino Triangle. Two McLarens on the front row. It's going to be Bosch and Lee battling it out for supremacy here. Pit window will open up immediately, so who will take that pit stop? That is the question, but it will just be a stop for fuel, literally a litre, and that is all they need to do. McLaren on the front row, one Lamborghini behind them with another McLaren, and then two BMWs for the third row. Who's this going to be? Who knows, as we now come down to the main straight and we get things ready and raring to go here at Suzuka for the Pro-Am night. We now wait for starters' orders. We are green and go here at Suzuka, and seems like a relatively even start. Bosch with the better launch actually as they head down towards turn number one. Williams making sure he goes up the inside. Lee a slight contact, but Williams gets a little bit unsettled and Bosch goes round. They all have to try and avoid Bosch as they all go through turn one, managing to do so except for Tucker, who gives him a little kiss on the front nose. But after all of that, he's off. Lee is off, and who is now leading? I'm not sure who's leading. Taylor's off as well. Is that Aberdeen, I think, now leads? Where are we? There's Aberdeen. Yes, it's Aberdeen who leads in the Audi from Luke Saunders. So he's starting from 7th on the grid. He's now leading this race, and that's definitely a name I was not expecting to be up there. And Andy Aberdeen leads as he goes into Degner 2. Meanwhile, we wait for the tables to update, and Williams and Taylor coming close together there. Taylor, he manages to keep it together, but Varga is on the move. Can he get a race win here in the sprint race? That is the question. And already the pack is just swamping their way through. Vitas with a decent start. Langley just a little bit bogged down, not able to clear as many cars as he has. As Gary Clark wins that. Go on, Andy. And Andy with a brilliant start there. Did very, very well in the Ginettas last night. Can he do well in this Audi? That is the question. Williams, meanwhile, looking to try and capitalise on the top four. So a great start there from Aberdeen as he works his way through Spoon. Everyone else relatively clean so far. No silly little incidences as of yet. We've only got Lee who's dropped to the back of the pack, but Bosch with a decent start. Oh, there's Flores. Possibly contact with Tucker, who's gone wide himself. And a little bit of contact there as now Taylor is under pressure from Old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer looking up the inside of 130R, and Taylor struggling in the McLaren. He's really slow through there, and coming through the order as well is Vitas. He's working his way up the order as there I think Arjun's made contact with Langley, and a lot of cars go straight on and gaining an advantage, a few of them as well. So a lot of cars abusing the limits, but already Varga comes into the pit straight away. Williams with a slow has had a moment. He's dropped behind Old Sim Racer, and Old Sim Racer moves another position. But Aberdeen with a great start to this race and pulling away from Saunders ahead of Craig in third. Then Old Sim Racer, Williams, Gabino, Unsworth, Taylor, Argent, and Vitas. Langley opting to pit, so Vitas staying out in the traffic as Greaves has got Betterson with him as well. Varga has gone green. as has Leach. Leach down the pack a little bit further on. Has Langley jumped Varga? Yes, he had. So Varga's stop, it was much longer than he probably wanted, and it's hurt him quite badly there. But Aberdeen, though, leads the way with Craig trying to give Saunders a bit of a headache here, and Williams now onto the back of old Sim Racer, just keeping him company. Meanwhile, Taylor still struggling. He's losing out to Vitas as Vitas works his way through the order. Contact there with Wolfsky as Taylor just tries to feed in, and there goes Alexis. That, I think, is Greaves. Yes, he is. He's off. Wolfsky's gone off. Vitas has spun Wolfsky, and Sam's gone off in the middle of the corner as well. So all sorts of chaos going through the first couple of corners here, and Sam struggling to get going. The start probably Aberdeen would have wanted. Everyone get caught up and having incidences, and he now leads this race and just extends his gap 2.4 at the minute ahead of Saunders. So Aberdeen looking strong, looking good in that Audi. What else is going on as everyone else starts to regroup? Order's a little bit all over the shop, but Langley has pulled away from Varga. Varga's had a moment on his own by the looks of things and dropped behind Fandango and Leach, who probably pulled off a good strategy here. But that's Betterson a little bit slow through 130R, and everyone else is going to have to check up as they go into the chicane. Langley with clean air, though, by the way, looking to hunt down the leaders as old Sim Racer now sets fastest lap of the race, but he's still got Williams right behind him. The problem with Suzuka is the traffic. They're going to get held up for so long. If they know they got better pace, for example, old Sim Racer, he will be under pressure right now from Langley. And if Langley jumps these guys, he's going to be in a prime position, especially at this circuit. They work their way through the S's. If anything, Saunders now back in the pack up, and that's allowing Aberdeen just to disappear. 2.6 was the gap as they come to the split now. It's going to be more than that. It's 3.4. So Aberdeen is on a roll and absolutely flying at the minute. What else is happening at the minute? Argent not really close to anyone at the minute, nor is anyone else. Meanwhile, Vitas comes out of pit lane and has ended up behind Langley. Taylor comes out. It's Leach who ends up behind Vitas. So Leach will gain a couple positions there just from coming in early. Meanwhile, Gabino is attacking Williams. It's now pride on who is the better Lamborghini driver, and Williams doing his very best to try and find a way through on Williams, just trying to hold off Gabino as best he can, but he is a little bit deep through Spoon. He keeps it within track limits. He takes a lot of the curve, but it helps him out with a good exit, but he gets a little bit squirrely on the exit of Spoon, and Gabino is going to be in a prime opportunity to attack. They head to 130R. How fast to go through there? A lot of curve from some of the guys. I think Craig and old Sim Racer taking off. Gabino had to go wide. And we're just checking themselves up there, making sure they don't exceed the track limits, because track limit warnings will be horrendous. And Gabino hits the curb quite hard, and Williams opts to pit. Whereas Aberdeen, he's continued on. He's obviously happy with his pace and going on strong at the moment. Meanwhile, further back is Argent hunting down Unsworth. So Unsworth looking like he was struggling earlier on, but seems to have found a little bit of pace here. It's nice to see the auxiliary lights here this evening. You can kind of, if some of the teams have gone same liveries, you can kind of identify who is who. Old Sim Racer still fastest lap of the race, but he's stuck behind old Sim Racer. Meanwhile, Langley with the clean air, Vitas behind him. So Langley really has played this quite cleverly with the stops. Pitted early, get the clean air, and away he goes. Williams, meanwhile, has gone green. And where is he? He's now leaving pit lane. So Langley has jumped him. Just a little bit of the curb there. So Williams struggling to keep Langley behind. But more importantly for Langley, Vitas has ended up behind them. We go back further up. We've got Bosch now onto the back of Benny Archer. Archer just having to defend him off at the minute. Meanwhile, old Sim Racer and Saunders and Craig all still close to one another. We're at the halfway stage of this race already. We'll stop the poll there. Majority reckon that Lee is going to win this race. I don't think he will with this one. But right right now Aberdeen must be starting to think about pitting, because Langley, with that clean air, will start to put pressure on the leaders. Betson didn't complete his stop, so he'll have to come in again. Here is Archer under pressure for Bosch. No way through for him there. Craig, meanwhile, has lost out to Old Sim Racer, so Old Sim Racer gets the job done. That must have been done at Spoon. Gabino takes a lot of curb there. Down the main straight they go once again. Now, can Old Sim Racer do anything about Luke Saunders? Langley, meanwhile, pushing on through. This is going to be very, very tight between himself and Aberdeen. Aberdeen's had it very clean and consistent out front, though. So we'll see how this all pans out. Everyone else after the stops are relatively clear. Faces over. Here we go. A three-way fight heading down towards turn number 1. Aston and McLaren and Flores coming over on Benny, but Bosch gets the job done. Benny Archer losing out. And through goes Flores and Bosch. Meanwhile, Old Sim Racer already onto the back of Luke Saunders. Can he hold off the Ferrari driver? That is the question. Vitas setting fastest lap of the race. As Argent comes out of the pits, he's behind Vitas and Williams now. And also behind Gary Leach also. So Argent losing a couple of places there. Old Sim Racer still hustling the back of Luke Saunders. Aberdeen though still leading out in front, 4-second gap over Luke Saunders at this precise time. And when does Andy choose to pit? 5 minutes left to go of this race. Still plenty of time for opportunities to arise. Taylor really struggling, he's right to the back of the pack. A lap down, I believe, as well. So Taylor, not his race. Everyone else still relatively close to one another. Andy though continuing on through, pushing it to the limit, as Old Sim Racer now looking to put pressure on Luke Saunders. Well, Craig's gone off and Gabino's gone off with him, so coming together between those two. But Luke Saunders and Old Sim Racer towards turn number 1, and Luke Saunders holds on to the position. Has gone a little bit too wide. That's going to allow Old Sim Racer up the inside. I think that'll be job done if he gets into the corner. Yes, he does. And Old Sim Racer gains another position. He's now in 2nd place. But the question is it too little too late? Because Langley flying at the minute in that clean air. Vitas trying to hunt down Williams at the minute. And across the line goes Langley. He now sets fastest lap of the race. And I think now it's a moment of time. Aberdeen now pushing the limits of that Audi. You can see here we've got Lee and Craig. Craig, stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Such a shame for him, was looking really good up in the podium positions earlier on. And he's now ended up with a drive-through stop and go as well. So he was actually behind Williams, Vitas, Gary and Argent as well, so relatively close for those guys. But I think now Aberdeen, he's going to have to either think about it now or leave it to the very, very last moment. But nonetheless, he's been driving brilliantly here. Any close battles towards the back of the pack? Not at the minute. Closest fight at the minute is Lee and Archer. And looks like Archer has lost out to Lee. And Lee gaining another position. So Aberdeen now into the chicane. Where is Langley? He's in Spoon. So Aberdeen in. He needs to make sure he gets it stopped. Doesn't want to speed. He does get it stopped beautifully. In comes Old Sim Racer and Luke Saunders as well. Pretty much the entire pack, I think, now will come into pit lane. No Unsworth's extending. So is Gabino. They're going one more lap here. Wolski coming in. A little bit of front end damage as well, giving him a little bit of a flicker. But here comes Langley out of 130R, coming to the chicane now. And Aberdeen really needs to be green and gone ASAP. And Langley now exiting the final corner. Aberdeen come to the stop. He's green. This is going to be tight. This is going to be incredibly tight. Langley coming down the straight now. And Aberdeen's off the limiter, but Langley will go right round the outside. And Aberdeen, I think a couple of laps too late. If he'd pit earlier, he would have had Langley covered. But Aberdeen, no, still a solid P2 at the minute. Who else has come out of the pits? Luke Saunders has come out, but he's not done his stop. He's not put the fuel in, so he's ended up ahead of Old Sim Racer, which is going to hurt him. Meanwhile, Williams has jumped them as well, and he's still ahead of Vitas, so hold him up at the minute. But purple lap still for Vitas as well. And can Williams just hold off Vitas towards the end of this race? That's the question. Unsworth, meanwhile, under pressure from Gabino, and these guys will have to stop this lap. Williams just has to absorb the pressure. He's got a little bit wide. That's going to offer an opportunity for Vitas up towards the hairpin. He's going to have a look, but Williams gives him racing room, gives him space, but he defends the inside of the corner. He's gone a little bit too deep. Vitas is going to get a better he's going to get a better line, but Williams will get a better exit. They're wheel to wheel, and the Lamborghini on the shorter line should hold off the McLaren. Meanwhile, Gabino still pressurizing Old Sim Unsworth towards the end of their stint. They're coming up to the chicane now. They're coming up to the final few seconds here. Oh, they nearly hit each other as they come into pit lane. Meanwhile, Williams has still got Vitas there, but Vitas not really close enough. Saunders is going to get a hefty penalty here because he forgot to put the fuel in. But Williams doing a great job. Can he hold off Vitas? Vitas with a great run there, and that is it. McLaren done up the inside. I think Williams taking a more cautious run through the chicane. And that's the end of the race as well. So Langley wins. Gabino is second, but gets a penalty. Aberdeen is third. Vitas would get fourth. Williams would get fifth. Unsworth would get something. I'm not sure what. He will get sixth because he's got a stop and go as well. This is a really confusing end. Leach will get 8th, Argent 9th, Wolfski in 10th, Craig Lee in 11th, Craig in 12th, Fandango in 13th, Flores 14th, Greaves 15th, Bosch 16th. Saunders comes into the pits as well. Varga coming to the line. And Luke Saunders will get 17th, but stop and go as well. Varga will get 18th, Tucker 19th, 20th for Archer, Betterson 21st, Atherton 22nd, and Taylor 20th. I don't get that. That's really confused me. Yeah, that's really confused me. Definitely Gary Clarkwell, great drive there from Andy. I'm not sure what to make of that. Yeah, and Gabino drops to the back of the pack after pitting outside the window. Stop and go for Saunders and also for Unsworth. Yeah, very confusing. I think it's I think because Langley ended up taking race leads towards the end of that race. So the way Suzuka works, the finish line actually is at the front of the pit lane, not towards the back. So the guys came in to do their stops on the last lap, but they hadn't started the final lap. So as the timer then ran out, Langley crossed the line to finish the race while they hadn't started the final lap. And I think because they pitted outside of the race itself, they lost. They gained a penalty, I think, but don't quote me on that. I'll be back in a few moments' time and also have a look at our fantastic Patreons as well. And I'll be back in a few moments' time. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and into the qualifying session we go here. And let me just double check that the tables have been done. But yeah, points have been put in. Just didn't look like there was much change, and at the minute there is not much change at all. Yeah, there's a slight change. So the driver standings looks like this. Langley leading the way with Vitas now in second. Kind of the points still going the way of Langley's favour. Has risen ever so slightly, with Sam Greaves still in P3. P4 is Fandango with only 5 points separating those two at the minute, but they are slowly being hunted down by Unsworth in P5, Wolski in P6 with Flores in P7. P8 is Old Sim Racer, while in P9 is Varga. Aberdeen in P10, 11 is Craig, 12th is Gabino, 13th is Ritchie, 14th is Argent, and Saunders in 15th. Bolton in 16th with Williams up to 17th. 18th is now Taylor. Smith in 19th. Lee 20th. Johnson 21st. Archer 22nd. Waste 23rd. The Block 24th. Bell 25th. Betterson 26th. KLF 27th. So I'll just change my camera in a minute. 28th is Atherton. Tucker 29th. Wheel 30th. Storick in 31st. 32nd is Williams. Leach in 33rd. Best 34th. Marshall 35th. 36th Goodwill. Marston 37th. Bosch 38th. Andrews 39th. Vareth in 40th. And that is your current drivers' standings. Your team standings is 4Q Motorsport lead the way, still ahead of No Gas, No Glory. P3 is Cloud9 Racing, while Team Audio Sport is in P4. P5 is Greasy Bandits Racing with SimPlay in P6, Team Murloc in P7, Soldor in P8, P9 going the way of NLR Racing. Team Quantum Motorsport is in P10, OWR Racing in 11 with 2Cs Racing in 12th, Lexid Industry in 13th, 14th is Black and Blue Racing, 15th is Rapid Rabbits GT with Team GBR in 16th, Team BSR in 17th, and OGR bringing up the rear. And that is that. And a few guys in the chat, Airwolf, Lol took turn one taken out. Arthur Delay, also anyone know which Aston Martin spun on lap 1? I believe that may have been Flores, but I'm not sure. Aberdeen for a podium in the feature, says Matt Wright, and Tips says looking good, a top 10, Matt. So all thinking that Atherton is looking Aberdeen is looking very good here this evening. Where is the Audi man? There he is, P4 at the minute. He's out on circuit, and his first podium of the season as well, which is great to see. As I just double check that. Atherton, yes, his first podium of the season. Previous to that, his best finish, from what I can see, is a 7th back at Zolder. So Aberdeen really delivering once again a podium position for himself, and after a great night in the Ginettas as well, it really showed in that sprint that he has got the confidence around him. Meanwhile, Langley is going to be the first man to set a lap time round here, and we're looking at possibly the high 201s to a low 201 for pole position, maybe in the 2-minute flats. We'll be definitely looking at the pros for doing that, maybe a 59 from them. But here comes Langley to the line. He sets a 2:01.2. What does Aberdeen produce? He's 2.4 off the pace at the minute. Craig, no lap time from him. We've got a Lexus Pine. That was Fandango, not a lap time from him, as Lee now goes into second place position. Circuit has now got to optimum as Argent goes into P5. Still wait for other lap times to come through. We've got Gary Leach, who goes into P6. Bit of a warm-up lap from him there. Betterson now goes P5. And Williams there not able to put a lap time on the board. Drivers struggling to put the times together. Vitas in the end going to P2. Varga P8 as well. Wolski now P4. So some good lap times coming in here. And 63, that is old Sim Racer, exits the final corner now. A couple more lap times coming through. We've got Luke Saunders going to P6, and old Sim Racer there goes into third. Top 10 is easy with his pace at the moment. Top 5, Baby says Matt Wright. We'll see what lap times he can produce. I believe Tucker's just gone through the line. Yeah, he has. He's gone to 12th. We see the 999. That is Gabino. In the Lamborghini P14, no lap time set at the minute. He's got Atherton right behind him, and no lap time set for Gabino. Atherton, no lap time for him either, as Flores now comes to the line. And that is only P11 for Flores. So the Aston Martin driver just struggling at the minute, as Langley flies through 130R, making sure he stays within track limits. Into the final chicane he comes, making sure the guys behind him are also on their laps. They need to make sure they've got a lap time on the board, as Aberdeen looked quite quick on this lap actually, as Langley comes to the line. Does he improve? No, he does not. Aberdeen, no, goes P8 with that one, so an improvement there from him, but not a massive amount. Craig goes with him into P9. Betty Varga now exits the final corner. We'll see what the BMW can do from Sodor Racing. P4 on that one. Then we've got Bosch to the line, and no lap time from him. Meanwhile, Gary Leach goes into P3. A good lap time there from Leach. And then we see Taylor crossing the line. I believe that was Taylor, or was it? Not sure who that was actually who came across the line. It is Wolski though coming to the line instead. What can Wolski do? P7 at the moment. Moves. No movement from him. No, Taylor did not set a lap time there. They seem to be inseparable this season. Old Sim Racer, no improvement from him. Vita's currently on a line. He didn't improve either. As Lee, oh, look at a bit squirrely going through the left-hander. We got Atherton, Flores, and Lee all trying to negotiate the chicane there. It's going to be Flores to come to the line first. Sam Grease does finally put a lap time on the board for 6th place. Flores, no improvement, none of improvement from these guys, as we now look to Vitas. Vitas does not get any closer to Langley, so Langley looking so good at the minute, as I believe Aberdeen has gone off. Yes, he is, and that is his session does. So 9th for Aberdeen though, so keep an eye on though, because he still will have a decent lap time possibly underneath him. I think Fandango is just ahead of Langley. Just ahead of him as well is another car. That is, I believe, Tucker or Craig. Either one, neither of them improved. Fandango only 16th on that one, and Langley no improvement either. Benny Varga now goes still in P3 at the minute. Here comes Gary Leach. Any improvement? No improvement from him. And Bosch does improve to go to 7th as well, so a good lap time from him. Williams still no improvement, as we see there. Betterson with a decent lap there goes to P6 on that one for your bronze pole position at the minute. Comfortably on pole for that. Jackal's not coming out on track just yet. He's obviously trying to set up a setup. Sam Greaves does improve to go to P5 once again. We see that Ferrari coming the line. That is old Sim Racer, no improvement either. But Langley, a mighty lap time from him. The car exited him pit lane, but I don't think you're going to get out on track, I'm afraid. As we go to Flores now. P16 at the moment. What can the Aston Martin driver do here? To line he comes, and 13th for that one, so it's an improvement. Vitas now coming to the line. This is going to be his one and only shot, and in no improvement. So Langley looking good for pole position at the minute. Atherton in the end does get a lap time on the board, 21st in the end. But Langley now coming into the final few sectors here. Leach on a lap as well, so it still could change. There still could be some changes to come. As you got Fandango there coming to the line. Just ahead of them as well, I think it's B. Craig. Yes, it is. So does B. Craig improve? He goes to 13th, and Fandango get a better lap time, 16th only. Langley does improve by a couple of hundredths, and he goes pole position. We now look to Gary Leach. Can he dethrone Langley here? No, he does not. He doesn't even get past Varga, but still a decent qualifying session there for Gary Leach. We now look to Wolfski and Argent. Has Argent put a lap time on the board? Yes, he has. He's 18th. But to the line comes Wolfski now. Argent tries to stick to the inside to make the shortest run possible. Wolfski does improve. Does Argent. He goes to 10th as well. But Langley, your championship leader, taking another pole position here at Suzuka, and a great qualifying session from him. It's going to be from Vitas, from Varga. Let's try and get a different view of the cars. No, I can't because my keyboard's died again. I really need to get a wide one because this one is doing my head in. But either way, Langley is on pole, and he is going to be looking strong in this one. And I do think that as long as you've got a strong and stable car underneath you, I think it's going to be very difficult to really pass anyone around here. The full fuel guys are going to be pretty much a roadblock. But with clean air, maybe a tyre change, but you really do have to make sure it works. But a tight circuit, no real opportunity for overtake. I think the fuel option is really just going to be the only option here tonight. But we shall see. Someone might prove me wrong. As we get themselves prepped and ready to go. As I will also get a poll going while I remember. So guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified.
30 seconds.
And Langley, like I said, on pole once again, looking so good in that Ferrari. What can stop him? Vitas, though, is pushing him all the way. So if Vitas has a decent start here, he could really give Langley a bit of a hard time. It could be all done in the first lap, or it could go right to the very, very end. It's been a while since I put Gary Leach for a prediction for a race winner. But as they go around to do their formation lap, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified. And have a look at our fantastic sponsors below as well, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. And if you do as well want to be a part of the Patreon, then have a look at our Patreon page on the Discord as well. I'll be back just shortly, as I need to run down and get a quick drink. But as they get the formation lap ready to go, get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. Just be back in 2 seconds. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't get myself prepped and ready to go for this one. I've now got some fluids to get me through this race, and I think the driver's going to need it as well. A hot Suzuka, considering it's also 26 degrees on circuit. It is going to be a scorcher. Oh. Like I said, guys, support your drivers, support your teams. Let's get ready to race here at the 9th week of racing. Already majority reckon that Langley is going to win this one. See that Langley really trying to put some temperature in those rear tyres. Just don't do that too much, because if he does do that too much, he will actually damage the rear tyres. Ready for round 18 of the season. It's your championship contenders on the front row. Ferrari versus McLaren. It's an all 5 different manufacturers with Ferrari, McLaren, BMW, Porsche and Lexus. But who is going to be victorious? That is the question. Yellow versus red. Langley versus Vitus. Quantum Motorsport versus an independent. Who's going to take the glory here tonight at Suzuka, at the land of the rising sun? We now wait for starters orders. And we are green and go here at Suzuka. Vitus though with a much better start than Langley, but he has the inside. The Porsche of Leach, oh, he's going to get a good start with that Porsche, but Vitus trying to go around the outside, but Langley makes it to turn 2, but Leach still going to try and go all the way around outside of Varga. But Vitus has a slight moment, and that's going to allow Varga to go around the outside, and also now Leach to go to the inside. He now has to move up a position as now Vitus drops down to P4, the start that Langley probably would have wanted, and everyone else relatively clean as Argent's dropped to the back of the pack. Off goes there Tucker. Saunders also to the back, but a good start relatively from everyone at the minute. Lee's had an off as well. Not sure where Lee is. Sorry, I'm on Tucker, that is. As the Jackal in the Mercedes-Benz. I didn't realise he was in the Mercedes. As they all now head towards the Degners, but Langley with the dream start he would have wanted, and away he goes. Varga in second, Leach in third, Vitus in fourth, Old Sim Racer in fifth. Greaves is now dropped to sixth, Wolski seventh, eighth is Betton after a good start. Bosch now in ninth, and Aberdeen dropping down to 10th. Williams on the move in 11th, Flores there in 12th, Fandango 13th, Lee 14th, Taylor 15th, Gabino 16th. Archer 17th, Craig 18th, Unsworth 19th. Then it is Argent 20th ahead of Atherton, Jackal, Saunders and Tucker. Tucker looks like he's got a serious amount of damage to the front end of his car. But Langley with the dream start he wanted, and away he goes. Meanwhile, Vitus already pressurising the back of Gary Leach, and wide goes Vitus. Vitus really close to the back of Gary Leach. Gary gets a good exit. This is the problem that he's going to have versus the Porsche of Gary. He's a very quick Porsche in the traction zones. And there is the mighty straight line of the Lexus. Down the inside goes Sam Greaves and gains a position on Old Sim Racer. Sim Racer now dropping behind Sam Greaves. And Wolski trying to go with them as well. Meanwhile, Aberdeen is under pressure from Flores. Lee in that 12th place position. Taylor's dropped a couple more positions. He's into the pack. Williams also has dropped a couple of. He's got a bit of front end damage by the looks of things. And he's defending off of Archer at the minute. So a lot of these guys probably wanting the pit window to open ASAP so they can get the damages repaired. Tucker's already into pit lane. We go back to your leaders. Varga still got Leach for company. Now again, obviously, fuels are going to be very, very important here. If drivers are opting to go long, if others opting to go short, then it's really going to take into consideration how much time they'll need to stop in the pits. Langley obviously needs to use his clean air to his advantage now. Well, Varga, I'm pretty sure if he's carrying full fuel, he's going to be holding everybody up. And you can see the back end of the BMW just does not look happy at this stage. And Vita's now putting a little bit of pressure on the back of Leach as they head up to 130R. He's not going to get that done there. He's going to have to follow these two a little bit longer as his championship contender pulls away out in front. Everyone else though falling into position. Williams dropping a little bit further back. He's now down to 17. Oh, Unsworth has a big moment. He keeps it together. He doesn't snap back onto the circuit. He drops all the way down to 22nd position. So he'll bounce through at the final corner. Meanwhile, your race leader already 4-second gap to Varga. He's pulling away is Langley. Varga now still trying to defend off Leach. Sim Racer on the back of the Lexus of Sam Greaves. Now he's in a real predicament here because that Lexus is mighty in a straight line. Meanwhile, Leach had a great run through Dunlop and is really on the back bumper of Varga. So Varga struggling at this stage. And the pit window has now opened, so a couple of the guys will be happy to see that. Possibly repair the damage, get out into the pits. The driver in pit lane, that is Sam Williams. He's got more damage to his car, but sadly he'll have to come in again to serve his pit stop. Sam is got going, but sadly he will have to come back in again. You see there, Leach has lost out to Vitas. So Vitas gaining a position there. Possibly when Varga and Leach were too busy squabbling, that's when Vitas then pounced and got the position back. They now head up towards 130R. That's one car done, and Vitas really needs to clear Varga very quickly so he doesn't allow Langley to get too far up the road. Final corner he goes through, and they're only now going through the chicane. So he's building a nice gap. Everyone else going through the chicane at the minute. No opportunities for anyone to come through. Meanwhile, Craig looking to make a move on Archer down towards the chicane. And that is it. Job done. Up the inside goes Craig. And another position gain for him. Meanwhile, Argent, Taylor and Saunders all struggling at this stage. Jackal now onto the back of Atherton. That's a minute. Leach is not letting Vitas get away, and Varga is then going to start holding him up once again. Once Vitas gets onto the back of him. Come on, Andy, let's go, says Tips in the chat. You see now Varga is holding up the pack as Langley pulls away. All over the curb goes Varga. Further back, meanwhile, Sim Racer is still giving Sam Greaves a bit of a headache. He probably needs to get him somewhere where he's not going to expect it, probably like the hairpin, somewhere like that. But the thing is, the Lexus is very, very strong on the straights, and even if old Sim Racer gets close, the Lexus will just pull away. Meanwhile, Gabino is fighting with Fandango, so he's going to suffer the same consequences of being stuck behind a Lexus. Jackal's now going to have the same problem also. Although the Mercedes is not too far off grunt-wise to the Lexus. So for a moment, Vitus looked like he was in a 10th of Varga, but he's now lost that time. And here we see the ultimate difference, your slowest car versus your fastest. The Lexus of Greaves going up against Leach in the Porsche. Oh, and he's got a little bit deep through the chicane. Manages to scoop it up and stay ahead of Greaves at the minute. Lee, meanwhile, is on the back of Flores. Any other moves at the minute? Jackal now onto the back bumper of Atherton towards 130R, but again, the Lexus does what it does best, and that's just go fast in a straight line. So imagine to hold them all off. Meanwhile, Leach under pressure from Sam Greaves. And this is all stemmed from Varga just holding them all up. And you can see Vitus now really on an urge to clear Benny Varga as soon as he possibly can. Because Langley still, though, 5.8. He's not rocketing away, but he's doing enough. And there, Varga's made a mistake, and Vitus is going to go up the inside of Dunlop curb. That's going to help him out massively. And through he goes. 7.5 is now the gap. So Vitus is now free to go and try and chase after Langley. He now needs to drop this pack really quick, as Wolski has a big moment in the background. The rear end just snapping on him there, and that's how much Varga was holding up the pack. Clearly must be on full fuel at this stage, and is really struggling to keep that BMW facing the right way. Vitus, though, has done the job. Can he now pump in some decent lap times and try and bring that gap down to Langley? So a close fight between the top 2 to 7. Aberdeen, meanwhile, has got Flores for company, as Lee and Fandango as well. So these cars relatively close. Gabino's there as well. Unsworth is going wheel to wheel with, as we just see Argent there having a moment. Atherton is coming up behind him shortly. But some of these guys has not been the race they would have wanted so far. And as you see there as well, Leach has lost out to Sam Greaves. That's probably just pure Lexus grunt, and old Sim Racer straight line the chicane. He's going to have to yield that time, but Gary Leach bouncing over the curb there and kind of shoved old Sim Racer off by the looks of things. While this is all going on as well, Betterson is going wheel to catching the back of Wolski, and Wolski goes round the outside. Old Sim Racer losing out of position there to the BMW. Greaves now do anything about Varga? That is the question. Vitus now focused on trying to hunt down Langley. And that is Luke Saunders. He's got his stop done straight away. So he's ended up in the pack though. And Tucker is in pit lane as well. Argent's opted to pit as well. So even though Saunders wanted to use this opportunity now to make some positions, he's going to end up in the traffic. So he's going to have to jump out the way pretty quickly, so that might actually hurt him rather than help him, I think. We see there Benson with a little slide. We've got Bosch trying to hunt him down. So this fight between Fandango, Lee and Gabino. Fandango goes a little bit wide. And Wolski's made a mistake. He's had a problem. He's dropped down the order. He was 6th. He's ended up behind Lee now, so he's ended up in 13th place position. Wolski making his own error there, and this is purely the problem. A lot of drivers just making their own mistakes. The Lexus, meanwhile, may not have been the best qualifier, but it looks like a very, very good race car here. He's now on to the back of Benny Varga. Go on board with Varga, but you can see the Lexus of Sam Greaves hunting him down bit by bit. Onto the chicane they go. Sam gets a good run through here. I think Varga might be in trouble. Varga's had his own little moment, and here comes the Lexus down the inside. Goes Sam Greaves, and now the Lexus will kick in its power. Job done. Nothing nothing that Benny Varga could do as Argent comes out into pit lane and falls right into the traffic. So that's really going to hurt Argent in this race now. He's now got to give way to blue flags. So Argent now, I don't think that's quite the right call for him. Meanwhile, further back, Cabino. He's got to leave the company and he takes a lot of curb, doesn't he? Sam Williams also in pit lane, gets his stop done and out he goes. But Varga, meanwhile, Bosch there in the background has gone off, possibly trying to clear Argent, and this is what I mean. Although Argent's got his stop done, he's just constantly having to get out of the way of lap traffic. Now he's got Aberdeen behind him. Once again, Argent will just have to move to one side. Bosch was onto the back of Betterson, but has lost that momentum. And Sam Greaves now starts to pull away from Varga. Leach with a little slide there by the looks of things. The gap between Langley, meanwhile, to Avitas, I think has kind of stabilised now. It's 7.5. So Langley and Vitas look like they're matching each other lap time. Vitas goes a little bit wide through 130R there. Leach once again is having. Oh, Varga's had a moment through 130R, and Leach is given the position, and Leach actually goes straight on at the chicane himself. Oh, Benny Varga's got caught up with old sim racer Betterson's there as well. Will Bosch capitalise on this? He will not. But Varga, flash of the lights there from, I think, for old sim racer or Betterson, I'm not sure who. But Varga getting himself in trouble there. He had his moment at 130R and then it continued on into the chicane. And we see Flores losing out to Fandango, so the Lexus power is now starting to kick in. And Argent's end up in the pits again. He's got damage to the front end of his car. As they all work their way through the S's. Varga's had another moment there. So the BMW not looking happy here. And Bosch goes through. Now it's Aberdeen who wants to have a go as well. And let's be honest, I've tested the Audi, and that thing is a handful with not a lot of downforce on it. Aberdeen is driving it incredibly well. We see Harris struggle a bit in the pro category. And Aberdeen seems to be absolutely brilliant in this thing. And he's now starting to give Varga a bit of a hard time, but he's got the very, very fast Lexus of Fandango. So he might be under some pressure here. Just behind him as well, you've got Wolfski and Flores. And Lee on the back of it. So pretty much from Bosch downwards. Looking at a close fight. Aberdeen already having to defend from the Lexus of Fandango. Going wide there was Wolfski. Manages to cut back but just take off the nose of Flores ever so slightly. But manages to keep it facing the right way. Fandango the best exit out of Spoon. But meanwhile, Aberdeen is attacking the back of Benny Varga, and I think that's possibly a little bit of damage to the rear wing of his car. You can see so loose on the back end, and he's having to pit. Varga with that damage, looking like he's struggling a lot and could not cope with it no longer. Meanwhile, in the foreground is Fandango overtaking the Audi, and that's job done. Once again, showing that Lexus grunt and how competitive it is. And through he goes. Nothing that Aberdeen can do there. Just kind of sit there and take the beating from the Lexus. Meanwhile, Langley still leads quite comfortably, extending the gap, 8.8. Greaves, meanwhile, has got Luke Saunders ahead of him to lap. Leach in a solid P4. With Sim Racer in a good P5. Betterson leading bronze driver in P6 and looking very, very good here. P7 is Bosch. And he's ahead of that Fandango, Aberdeen, Wolski, Flores, Gabino, Lee, fight. That goes all the way down to 13th place position. And you've got Craig, Unsworth, Archer, and then your Pitters of Varga dropping behind Taylor and Atherton. Williams slowly trying to work his way up the order. He has jumped Argent. So a few points gained. Every point counts in this championship. Through up towards Spoon we go. Once again, Aberdeen under pressure, this time from Wolski. Aberdeen though with a better run through Spoon has allowed himself a little bit of a healthy gap away from the BMW driver. Meanwhile, Gabino is pressurising Flores a little bit too much curb, and that sent him wide, nearly into the gravel, but keeps it together. And Lee also to the back of this group. Wait a minute, Bosch now starting to feel the pressure from Fandango. But Fandango not able to use that Lexus grunt at this stage. Gabino still stuck behind Flores, and this is the problem for Suzuka. You just cannot find an opportunity to go through. Again, Vitas just matching Langley now. Oh, Leach has had a big moment through Dunlop. He's gone round, and a slight contact there from Old Sim Racer. He now goes wide. Will Bettison clear him? Yes, he will. Oh, has Leach got himself out of the way? Yes, he has. And now he has to wait for the entire pack to get going, and Leach has got it spun round. But Old Sim Racer, though, with damage to his car now, has now got Bettison now charging at him for leading bronze driver. Is now on the back bumper of Old Sim Racer. And then you got that whole gaggle of cars. Oh, Wolski's had a moment. He's managed to get ahead of Aberdeen, but he's had that small moment. And the back end just stepping out there. So a couple of mistakes here from a few drivers. And that's allowing Bettison to capitalise for you. Oh, and he's lost the back end ever so slightly there. And Fandango, meanwhile, is on the hunt. Fandango trying to chase the two Ferraris down. But at this moment in time, is not able to do anything to him. Into the chicane we go. Once again, Old Sim Racer still ahead of Bettison, still ahead of Fandango. Meanwhile, Wolski was going wheel to wheel with Aberdeen, who's gone off at 130 yards. So after a solid sprint race, he's ended up in the gravel for the feature. He's just stayed ahead of B. Craig. So B. Craig now looking trying to abuse the back of the Audi driver. He's got a bit of possibly some really hot rear tyres, and they will not be pleasant right now. So a minute after pretty much coming to the quarter stage of this race, it's Langley with a comfortable lead out in front, fastest lap to his name. Vitas in P2. Sam Greaves sat in your P3 position, or P4 is going the way of Old Sim Racer. Bettison has now dropped behind Fandango, so Fandango in 5th, Bettison in 6th, Bosch in 7th, Wolski in 8th with Gabino in 9th, Flores in 10th with Lee in 11th, Aberdeen now in 12th with Craig in 13th, Leach in 14th, and Unsworth in 15th. Archer's had a moment, he's gone off. But he's going to hold on to that 16th place position ahead of Taylor. Varga, oh, he's had a moment as well. So a lot of drivers very loose going through turn 1. And now Atherton in 19th, Saunders in 20th, Williams in 21st, and Argent in 22nd. The BMWs are looking like a right handful. The only one look fairly planted is the one of Wolski. Saunders also looking quite planted, but he's a lap down already. Besson sticking to Fandango, but not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Wolfski's actually attacking Bosch for a moment. Bosch looked like he was getting closer to Betterson, but instead had possibly made a mistake and has dropped into the clutches of Wolfski. Into the chicane, there you go. Oh, excuse me. Wolfski sends it, licks the stamp, and sends it in the mail. And Bosch at that point opted in, nope, I'm coming in pit lane after that move, and gets himself out of the traffic and trouble and gets himself some clean air possibly. As we see now, the gaps are starting to spread out. Gary Leach now opting to pit. There's no real close fight at the moment, which gives me a great opportunity to say, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified. Make sure, if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to our sim grid. There on the sim grid, that will allow you to get yourself into the Discord. Once you are in the Discord, we ask you then to do a hot stint. 5 valid laps around Barcelona, and with that as well, we want to see your stats page around Barcelona also, so we can kind of see if you're sandbagging or not. But please don't, because we'd like to see the very best from people. As Wolski has made a mistake, that's going to put him under pressure from Gabino. And with that pressure as well, Gabino is really starting to make the BMW driver sweat a little bit here, going towards the 45-minute mark. And a bit like Paul Ricard, it's just got to the stage of this race where it's just not a lot going on. Strategies obviously in place right now. Some might be half fuel, some might be lighter, some might be full fuel. And I don't know what regarding the tyres either, so who knows at this stage. But right now, Gabino is trying to give Wolski a bit of a hard time here. As they head into the chicane. Gabino's not got any opportunity through there. Old Sim Racer decides to pit early there, so he's opting to take his stop. And with the way this is going at the minute, Sam Greaves and Fandango both in 2nd and 4th, outscoring the No Gas No Glory boys at the minute, so that's really paying into their favour regarding the championship for the team. So they're going to be loving this right now. And again, I thought a circuit that would really hurt the Lexus, but in this case, it's not. And they're looking very, very good here at the minute. B. Craig, meanwhile, still trying to defend off Unsworth, who's taken a bit of a sketchy line through the start of the S-curves. A reminder as well, tomorrow night, guys, the pros will be on circuit, and the action will be brought to you by your main commentators on that night. That is Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis, sweet and sticky in your box, bringing you all the action here at the Suzuka circuit. A night race that's really been quite a challenging one for some of these guys. The night obviously really throws off your sometimes your braking points, your markers, stuff like that. It's something that you would usually see on the side of the circuit, as your point of reference is gone because of the night time. So it really does play with you sometimes, the night, especially when you're doing an endurance race. The night stint is probably one of the hardest stints as well, because you're tired, you're fatigued, and you end up thinking stuff that you wouldn't normally think, and end up doing stuff that wouldn't naturally happen. Lee, meanwhile, is starting to become under pressure from Aberdeen. Aberdeen's slowly working his way. He's in a top 10, so good points for him. But Betterson, for me, on this one is looking really, really solid in that P5 position. He has been hunted down a little bit by Wolfski, so we'll see how that all pans out. As Unsworth gets a little bit closer to the back end of that McLaren of Craig. And with them now heading down towards turn number 1. Has Unsworth had a better run through there? He has a look for an opportunity to the inside, but thinks better of it. More like a scare to his rival. As Varga's returned to pit lane. So Varga has either retired or he's got an issue. Michael Harris in the chat. I found the 24-hour night seat quite peaceful. You're also not wired up right, mate, because you drive this thing and you say that the night stint was peaceful. The rear end of the car is a disaster. Not sure why, because it was all right in quali. Depends obviously what fuel you put on board, Varga. If you put a lot of fuel on board, then it is going to feel a little bit leery indeed. So possibly not set it up for the fuel load that you put in. I didn't mind the night stint to start off with. It's just when it started to get later and later, I think it was like the early hours of maybe 1, maybe 2, 3 o'clock was the kind of like the horror era, I like to call it, the night where you start really going a bit doolally and start thinking really bizarre things. And then everything just becomes a blur. I think my vision genuinely went at that point. And Aberdeen, meanwhile, right on the back wing of Lee. But just as I come away, Craig has a moment on the exit of Spoon, and through goes Unsworth. And a job done there for Unsworth. Another position gain for him. But that helps out the no gas, no glory boys. The next target is that of Andy Aberdeen. He's now going to look to try and chase down. Wolfsky slowly bringing the gap down to Betterson, but he makes a couple of mistakes. Lee, meanwhile, going down the main straight. He's got Aberdeen just behind him, 2/10 in fact. With barely any rear wing on the back of that Audi. It looks fairly quick compared to the McLaren. And couldn't find a way through at that point. Through the S's goes Aberdeen and Lee. Still no opportunity as Wolski gets closer to Betterson, but not quite close enough. Gabino's got Luke Saunders for company. Luke Saunders' strategy has managed to pay off against the likes of Varga, Argent and Williams. Taylor at the minute still struggling at the moment, struggling to get to terms with Archer. The Mr. Bean matchstick strategy works a treat. Also, going back to your comment, the BMW was a dream to drive. The Audi, I couldn't do 24 hours straight. No thanks. Is it? I think it is safe to say, Harris, that next season that Audi is possibly going in the bin. Wolski once again gets close to Betterson, but not quite close enough to really mount an attack. Bosch, meanwhile, has already passed Atherton, who is yet to pit. So Bosch getting his stop done. He's got Leach not too far behind him. Old Sim Racers trying to hunt down Leach as well. So still some fights going on at the minute, but they're not close fights at this stage. And this is the big drawback to Suzuka. Like I said, it's a great one-lap circuit. Great to do time attacks. But I feel for racing, it is not that good. Argent now looking to try and stay out of the way of the leaders as Fandango goes through. And here comes Betterson now into turn number 1 and lets your leaders through. And Betterson and Wolski put another lap on him. Aberdeen, though, choosing to pit into pit lane, possibly hoping to get the jump on Lee. Oh, as it just left, I think I was on board. Who was I on board with? I think it was the Aston Martin. It might have been actually Saunders having a moment through turn 1. Obviously, his question was a little bit quiet on the circuit. Obviously, thinking in the off-season of doing a fun event. We love to see the fun events. They come back in the mid-season break, and we have all sorts of weird events from really, really like one-off strange series or just really daft stuff. But also, hopefully, in the works, maybe an endurance race. What would people love to see? What kind of endurance race? Obviously, we're not doing a 24-hour race, possibly a little bit shorter. Maybe like, I don't know, a 6 hours of Silverstone, maybe something along those lines. Yeah, let's hear what you guys think, as right now, like I said, still not really much going on. Wolski and Betterson is your closest fight on circuit. I think starting to get the gust of it now, but we'll have to see how the reset of the season pans out. Andy tyres and repairs, plenty of time to recover, drive. Oh, so okay, so Andy with a bit of a longer stop, allowing himself some fresh tyres and some fresh set of boots. He's still ahead of Bosch though, so, oh no, he's dropped behind Bosch. Where is he compared to Leach? So Leach goes through Dunlop now, and Aberdeen goes through Dunlop. So that's a good opportunity still to gain some decent points here. So a fresh set of boots, fresh car. He was close to old Sim Racer as well. So yeah, so Andy maybe looking with those fresh set of tyres could be a little bit of a threat in the mid-pack a little bit later on as Wolski gets close to Betterson once again. But Betterson having a solid drive here. And he's not really dropping Fandango. Fandango's not really running up the road. Your bronze driver looking good. He's first in that class. As Archer's in second, and third is Atherton. Really, your only bronze drivers left in the bronze category. Obviously, primarily full of silvers. But they're both having a great, all three of them having a great drive tonight. It's nice to see them still going around and soldiering on. Through into the right hand, Wolski getting close to the back of Betterson. But Wolski can't do nothing. And Bosch getting close to Taylor here. This should be somewhat fairly straightforward, as it's a basically not really a fight of theirs. They're possibly just gonna, it's gonna not be too difficult. Taylor would be smart not to fight this, as he's got his own battles at the moment. But he's still scoring some good points as Bosch is catching him. And Wolski once again is on the back of Betterson as they head up to 130R. Besson holds him off, but he goes a little bit wide on the exit. Wolski is as close as he's been. We're at the halfway stage of this race, and Wolski going up the inside of the chicane. Contact is made. Wolski has to go straight on. Betterson makes the corner, and Wolski gives the position back. So fair play to Wolski. He obviously knew he wasn't going to make the corner. Fandango now comes into the pits to make his stop, but some fair racing there from Wolski. He gave the position back, knowing he was not going to keep that position. Better off being safe rather than getting a penalty at this stage. It's now, like I said, we're at the halfway stage, and we're going to end the poll on who you think is going to win. The majority said Langley. I think at the minute, unless something bad happens to Langley, I don't really see him really struggling at this stage. But again, this is your closest fight. Gary Leach has had a mistake. He's dropped behind Aberdeen and Old Sim Racer. So Gary Leach, with a mistake, has lost himself a couple of places. If he's not changed the tyres, those rear tyres are going to be very, very hot now. Track temperature 26 degrees, and Taylor and Bosch go through the quick left-hander. This should be fairly straightforward, as Betterson has finally lost out to Wolski, and Wolski has got him, and I think probably in the Degners or in Dunlop. Actually, no, that would have been just, so as he got to, he's done him in the Degners. So must be a good move done there. And Bosch, though, still stuck behind Taylor at the minute. This is really hurting his race, as he will have Old Sim Racer starting to hunt down. The gap was about 9 seconds, and Bosch stuck behind Taylor. Obviously, Taylor is due to stay there. This is for race position, and Bosch just can't find a way through. Now the gap is 8.7, so Old Sim Racer gains more time. And Aberdeen also, with that fresh tyres and low fuel, or better car repair, he'll be hunting them down, as Langley now pits, which he's probably gone half and half. And I think Now thinking about it, yes, the full fuel is going to be good, but I think half and half fuel, same tyres obviously, but you can't push them as hard, but you'll be able to keep them a little bit more alive. I think the half and half might be a fair shout here, as Archer now has got Fandango for company after he's got his stop done, and I think that should be relatively straightforward for him. Betterson now pits also. Langley has gone green, and Fandango is your next green car. And there, Fandango gets onto the grass and hits the back of Archer. They recoup and get themselves going again, and I think that might hurt Fandango's race strategy here. He goes a little bit wide, as you can see Archer just struggling now with the back end of that Aston Martin. So Betterson and Unworth in as well. Oh, and Bosch has had a moment as well. So Taylor and Bosch relatively close to one another. And Old Sim Racer once again brings the gap down. Bosch having a mistake as well does not help. I'm not sure who that is. That's Vitus now lapping Aberdeen. And Langley obviously out in front. He's just ahead of Craig. As Betterson's in the pits. Fandango will now come through. It's going to be close between him and Betterson. Betterson has released the pit limiter, but Fandango with the straight line advantage will stay ahead of him. And Betterson will fall in behind Archer, so that's going to hold him up ever so slightly. So a little bit of action here happening, which is nice to see, but I think it will all calm down once again. But your race leader was Langley. He's pitted, and Vitus now has got Aberdeen for company. I don't know if Vitus has made a mistake something, because he did lap Aberdeen. And Aberdeen, obviously with those fresh tyres, possibly is actually faster than Vitus at this stage. If I was Vitus, if he'd not full fueled it, Langley was always going to go half a fuel. I think there's certain drivers you know that will do certain things, especially when you're racing them day in, day out. And I think for the Vitus and Langley, they've kind of learned how each one works in pit stops. So maybe it's time to do something different. Maybe it's time to go outside the box and try and find a solution to stop Langley from dominating these races, because as of right now he is as he just keeps doing the same old, he's never really going to have that advantage. So he's got to try and do something different. Maybe the full fuel is the way to go. But we shall see. Aberdeen, meanwhile, is still ahead of him. He did get in front of him. He did unlap him. But the thing is, Vitus 1 minute is quicker than him. Next minute, he's slower than him. So Aberdeen's stuck in this kind of limbo land at the minute. And, yeah, he can't really move forward. Meanwhile, Betterson has now got ahead of Archer. So that's helped him out a little bit. Fandango, though, up down the road quite a significant amount. So that time stuck behind Archer has hurt him quite a bit. And 114, that is Unsworth, has got a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Vitus is now in, while Langley is up and spoon. Now Vitus is, if he's just full fueled it, and he just needs to come in, stop, hit his marks and put the 1 litre in, hopefully he should come out relatively close to Langley. But if he has to put fuel in, he's going to be in trouble. He's going to be back where he was. So we shall see what happens. Vitus is come to a stop, and Langley is now into the chicane. I think he's got more fuel. He's got less fuel in than we thought. And Vitus now, yeah, Vitus has gone green, and it's not really going to be close enough, because by the time he gets up to speed, Langley will already be in the midpoint of the first part of the S's. He has now left the pit lane. He's into turn 2. And that gap has stayed relatively the same. Meanwhile, B. Craig hanging it out has now just been passed by Sam Greaves. He pitted earlier on. It's now Wolski who leads. Lee is now into the pits. And Flores now starting to become under some pressure from Betterson. And I think Flores may have got out into the pits just a little bit quicker. Further back, there's no real racing, just a couple of cars looking to try and lap one another. Betterson, meanwhile, still looking for an opportunity to find a way through on Flores. Meanwhile, Archer comes into the pits. Taylor's got Old Sim Race, and Old Sim Race has hit the wall. Major damage for him, and his teammate Unsworth comes into the pits. So more bad luck for the No Gas, No Glory boys. And flash of the lights there from Old Sim Race. Obviously not too happy about something. But Betterson now still giving Flores a bit of a headache. Still waiting for a few more cars to come into pit lane, like Taylor. We're still waiting to see Craig, Wolfski. I think that is it for your stoppers as well. But Betterson going wheel to wheel with Flores, and this is forward position. Aberdeen now onto the back of Old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer with a big damage as well. A flash of the lights there. Aberdeen is feeling really racy today, and Unsworth has got his stop and go done. Wolfski now into the pits, as is B. Craig. On Aberdeen up the inside there of Old Sim Racer, but he's hit a bump, he's hit a curve, and around he goes. An Old Sim Racer there. Aberdeen gets it going again. Where is Leach? There he is, and through he goes. Old Sim Racer is slow, so maybe he feels he was hard done by there. Was done hard. Oh, I can't talk now. Has maybe upset Aberdeen there ever so slightly, and Old Sim Racer is waiting for him. Old Sim Racer, will he get going now? No, he's not. He's staying where he is for a moment. And Old Sim Racer, not the race he would have wanted. Gabino, though, quietly minding his own business here. He's got himself up into P4. So good points for him. Wolski in P6. So Fandango losing a couple of positions there. But again, everything seems to have just calmed down once again. Langley leads, and he's got a 14.7 gap over Vitus. If anything, Vitus has ended up dropping into the clutches of Greaves here. So he's actually lost out quite significantly to Langley. And then, like I said, if anything, he's now starting to become under pressure from Greaves, who's got quite a gap over Gabino. And then everyone else all spread out. A yellow flag, that is, I think it's still Old Sim Racer. Yes, it is. He's stopped at the side of the circuit. Still got 25 minutes left of this race. Like I said, not been the most exciting races at all. I don't think strategy really is going to make much difference here. Real probably one to keep an eye on is Sam Greaves hunting down Vitus. Fandango hunting down Wolski. Out the final corner comes Fandango. Can he hunt down Wolski? That is the question. If you haven't done so, have a look at our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. They produce some fantastic products, and they've got their Facebook links and also all of their other website links in the description below. It has been quite a difficult race to try and commentate on. Obviously, there's been some action, but obviously most of it has been long runs or not really much racing going on at the minute, as we do have some action. Atherton and Williams are going at it, and Williams sticking with it, is now pressurizing the back of the Lexus of Phil. So Sam and Phil going at it, the head up towards the hairpin. Phil goes a little bit wide and Williams goes wide with him. Also Betterson now is on the back of Leach. So after Betterson nosed out earlier on, he's now back on the rear wing of Gary Leach. And Greaves also still hunting down Vitas, who's got, I think, Unsworth for company as well, right up his back bumper. So looks like Vitas really seems to be struggling at this stage of the race, into the last few stages of this race as well. So I'm still looking at the time just to see the gap. It was 14 seconds. Well, yeah, it's 20 seconds to Langley. So Vitas really is struggling. Meanwhile, Phil still trying to keep off Williams from behind in that Lamborghini, trying to hunt down the Lexus, but he can't seem to do so at the minute. Also Betterson attacking Leach. And Greaves has brought the gap down to 1.1, and I think that's Unsworth behind Vitas. Unsworth is much faster than Vitas. He wants to clear him, but he can't. And if anything, it's holding up the pair of them. So, but for Vitas, it's nice to have that car between them, so that Sam Greaves has someone. Well, there's a car between the two of them, and it's a little bit of a break. But at that point, Unsworth will have to get out the throttle for Sam Greaves, as Leach still under pressure from Betterson. Williams has just got onto the back of Phil, and Phil just holding off for the minute. But Sam Greaves now catching onto the back of Unsworth. As they now head towards 130R. As Craig now has a healthy gap over Leach, as Betterson's now giving Leach a bit of a hard time. Meanwhile, Phil once again using the straight line advantage of the Lexus, and Sam can't find a way through. Oh, and DJ Phil has got a little bit deep through the chicane. That's possibly going to give Williams an opportunity, but they've got traffic of Gabino behind them, and Phil goes off. Williams gets the position, and Williams will now have to get out of the way of Gabino, who is now lapping Williams. And down towards turn number one, Williams allows Gabino to go up the inside, and job done from him. Meanwhile, Leach still struggling with Betterson breathing down his neck. Williams gets that job done. Greaves now has brought the gap down. It's kind of stabilized a little bit, as Unsworth still giving Vitas a little bit of a hard time. And I will get a driver of the day poll ready to go. But some drivers have had some decent nights tonight, others probably nights to forget. But still, Unsworth still separating second and third right now. But Langley looking solid, looking good. I can't remember if he took the fastest lap. He may be on for a grand slam here. are still separating these two. Betterson, once again, has got close to Leach. No, he hasn't. Leach has pulled away a little bit. If anything, he's fallen into the clutches of Aberdeen now. So Aberdeen looking to give Betterson a bit of a hard time. Vita still holding off Unsworth and Sam Greaves at the minute. Oh, and Betterson and Aberdeen have come together. And Betterson with a good drive there is now going to drop down the order a little bit. Where is Lee? There he is. He's going to manage to stay ahead of him. But either way, Betterson has had a great drive tonight. Looked very good in the Ferrari. Flash of lights there from your leader, Langley. We've got a driver of the pole ready to go. Driver of the day ready to go. Some of these guys, it's not been the night for them. Others, it's been the dream. And again, all the gaps have spread out. Into turn one goes Gary Leach, quite a comfortable gap over Aberdeen at the minute. Those fresh tyres possibly having a Betterson having to pit though. So he's going to end up dropping down the order. But hopefully when we go to Laguna next time out, we should see some interesting fights happening there. Another night race once again. Not long left of the season to go. Again, not really much happening on the circuit at the minute, just getting the calendar up for the rest of the season. So we started things off earlier on in the start of June. We were at Zolder for the first round of the season. We're now at, we've been through Monza, Zandvoort, Kota, Barcelona, Hungaroring, Misano, Paul Ricard, tonight being Suzuka. We've only got 4 rounds left to go. Next on the calendar will be Laguna Seca. Archer got a little bit closer to Unsworth, but he's still stuck in this train at the minute with Greaves and Vitas, but no real threat at the minute. So yeah, Laguna Seca, round 10 of the season, and that's another night race to come next week. And then the week after will be Snetterton for round 11. Round 12 we'll head to Spain in Valencia, and then for the final time this season we will be heading to Donington Park once again, the home of SimPlay Motorsport. Gary Leach just had to return back to pits again. Is it damage possibly? Yep, he's got severe damage to his Porsche. Meanwhile, Wolski has caught onto the back of Gabino, so Wolski really been on a charge here. Also Greaves now, oh, he ends up on the dirt in the gravel. And Vitas and Unsworth at the minute. Unsworth really becoming a little bit of a nuisance here, I think, for Vitas. If I was Vitas, I'd just let Unsworth go. But he's there still, and Wolski now really pressurising the back of Gabino. But like I said, last race of the season being Donington Park and heading to an evening race. Out of the final corner comes Wolski. Wolski not able to find a way through on the Lamborghini driver at the minute. Everyone pretty much done their stops already. This is the closest fight at the moment. Gabino extending the gap on Wolski there, looking like he had a bit of a bad run through that sector, did Wolski. But he's looked very good at that BMW. Sam Greaves trying to recoup and re-go at the back of Vitus. A couple of incidences, damages and repair back, but for a solid top 10 for Andy again, says Tips in a chat. Yeah, he is a solid P10. Even getting reached towards the end, you had made that mistake. Wolski though still giving Gabino a bit of a hard time. Again, that's really your closest fight, other than Greaves, who's, like I said, trying to bring the gap down to Vitus, but there seems just to be a car between the two of them. Unsworth not really got into the blue flag warnings yet. Unsworth weaving about a little bit, not sure why. So just being, I don't want to say a nuisance, but he's just kind of like there in between the drivers fighting for second and third. There's Gabino trying to hold off for fourth place against Wolski. Wolski looks to the inside of the final chicane. Oh, Gabino hits that curb quite badly and it unsettles the car. It's a nasty, nasty little dip and he goes straight to the defensive mood straight away as Wolski looks to the outside. He ain't going to do it through turn one, I don't think. He's not far enough alongside. He thinks about going up the inside, but he's not quite close enough. And Wolski has to fall into position. And through the S's they go. Wolski really putting the pressure now on the back of Gabino. So Greaves' attack on Vitus has come to an end by the saying he's not able to stick with them. But Wolski, oh, he looks like he's got the inside done on Gabino. Gabino running out wide, hitting the grass and hitting the dirt, and off he goes. Through into the final corner they go. Driver of the day poll has gone out, so guys, get your votes in on who you think driver of the day is. There's been some very good candidates nonetheless, but those are the guys I've gone for. If you don't agree, obviously put in the chat who you think. Oh, Gabino's gone very, very wide there. Sim Racer in the end returning back to pits. Now onto the back of Aberdeen to lap him as they've got 9 minutes left to go of this race. It's probably been a long and hot and sweaty race for some of these guys. We are coming to an end here. With 9 minutes to go, it's Langley leading the way with fastest lap as well. Head of Vitus in second. Third is Sam Greaves. Fourth is Wolski. Gabino in fifth. Fandango in sixth. Flores in seventh. Eighth is Bosch. Ninth is Craig. Aberdeen in 10th with Lee in 11th. Taylor in 12th. Unsworth in 13th. Archer in 14th with Saunders in 15th. Williams in 16th. Leach in 17th. 18th is Betterson. Atherton is 19th. Argent in 20th. And Old Sim Racer and Varga still in pit lane, and your only retirements for the night. Said at the minute, Vitus will hold off Greaves as well. Langley will just extend his championship lead as he then goes back to home soil. We'll be going to America for Laguna Seca for the next round of the season. Obviously voting for my Ginetta teammate. Fair enough, buddy. Votes are coming in. It's a 50-50 vet going so far of Greaves and Aberdeen. But Langley has just been phenomenal. Has not put a foot wrong, nailed the sprint race as well. I can't even remember if he took the fastest lap, but I'm going to have a quick look to see if he did. But yeah, Langley has just been in another class of his own. No, he did not. That actually went away of Vitus, I think. Yes, it went away with Vitus. So not quite the Grand Slam that Langley was possibly hoping for, but nonetheless, it's still been a fantastic drive for him. And that said, just been a bit of a dull race for Suzuka. Atherton on the back of Leach here, and I don't know if Leach has passed. Oh, Leach looks like he's got more front end damage to his Corsa, I think. No, it looks alright actually. Just the way the lighting is. Yeah, not really much happening out on circuit at the minute, but it's this man leading the way quite comfortably. Into the final few corners he goes. Slowly building that championship lead and slowly looking to the pro category next season if he keeps this form up. Chicane comes Langley. See there about Arjun close to Williams, obviously been a lap down to him. I say it's been a good race nonetheless. Fandango flashing the lights, obviously trying to clear the traffic. He's trying to catch Gabino, who seems to be struggling at this moment in time. There's been Ferrari dominance, top 5 at the minute, separated by 5 different manufacturers: Ferrari, McLaren, Lexus, BMW and Lamborghini. Aston Martin not far off there. Flores just quietly minding his own business there in P7. And obviously Aberdeen in the Audi just sat there in P10. The fellow Porsche Leach dropping down into 18th after being in the second row, just not worked out for him. It's not really his type of circuit anyway. He does not like the Suzuka circuit, and just not paid out for Leach at all. 5 minutes left of the session. It is Langley's to lose now. He's got a big gap. He's through into the hairpin, while Vitus is only now coming up to Dunlop curve, and he has still got the company of Unsworth. And definitely Sam's Greaves attack has definitely come to an end here. There's no real close fights actually on the circuit. Was Leach and Atherton, but that's extended pretty quickly. Pretty much that's it for the Suzuka round. Obviously, like I said, the pros tomorrow night, brought to you by Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis. They'll be bringing you all the action for the pros tomorrow night. Let's see how they get on around this circuit. Fairly warm for them as well. The rain clouds have formed away and gone. Baz Langley comes through the final quarter now. He's only got a couple more laps to go around here. I'd say 2 more laps for him. Still got Unsworth for company. Who else haven't we seen for a while? We've been on Taylor for a bit. He comes through 130R. Pretty difficult day for SimPlay Racing. Not kind of gone the way for them. Nor no gas, no glory either. They lose points to the 4Q Motorsport drivers. Fandango was looking good in P4, but I'm not sure what happened to his strategy in the end. Losing out a little bit there and dropping him down the order. I said votes coming in for driver of the day. Currently 20 people watching. Please get your votes in on who you think deserve driver of the day. 3 a vote from Langley, Aberdeen and 4 Greaves. On board with Bosch for a little bit. We've been trying to hunt the gap down to Flores, but not been able to do it. said, been a relatively straightforward but quiet race for most of these guys. Landing up into Spoon, he will be going on to his final lap very shortly. Haven't seen much of Luke Saunders, pitted relatively early. Obviously that's helped him out, slowly build a couple of points. Williams, obviously earlier on, had a few incidents and problems. That's dropped him down the order also. But staying out has allowed him to gain a couple of positions. He's got past Betterson, Leach, Atherton and Argent. Obviously on sim race and Varga not finishing this one either. As Langley now exits the final corner, he's going to start his final tour around Suzuka circuit. It's been a phenomenal drive from him. Being a quite healthy gap to Fandango as well. So again, as I said, there's no real threat for anyone at the minute. They're in their own little race. They're in their own little, well, I say they're in their own little race. Got Vitas here, still got Unsworth for company. I don't know what Unsworth done to that car or whatever has happened, but it's just come alive for him towards here, because he's been lapping similar to Vitas, but I don't know if Vitas has been struggling. He's been able to keep off Sam Greaves for a while, but obviously not had the pace of Langley. So yeah, a bit of a tricky one for Vitas towards the end of this. Obviously the damage was done pretty much straight away when Leach and Varga managed to get the jump on him. But ever since then, he's just been playing catch-up, and it's just not worked out for him tonight. But at least he's been kept company by the Ferrari driver of Unsworth. Up to the hairpin for the final time for Langley. Phenomenal drive from him. Through into Spoon. There you go. Does Langley. Another race to his name, another race win as well. Absolutely dominating it here at Suzuka. I think a lot of the Pro-Am drivers are going to be happy to see him go up into the Pro next season. But that seems to be the way each season we go in the Pro-Ams. There seems to be one driver that seems to just come along and just absolutely dominate. And in this case, it is Gray Langley, the American, who exits the final corner here at Suzuka to take the win here in Japan. A massive congratulations to him. He wins here at Suzuka. Super job from him. There's a little bit of a gap back to Vitas, who's going to hold off Greaves in the end. Atherton crosses the line for 19th. But in the end, Vitas had no answer. Had no challenge. Aberdeen crossing home for a top 10 position. But here comes Vitas now. Lee drops the line in 11th place position. Vitas in the end have to settle for second on this one. Unsworth as well crossing the line in 12th position. Sam Greaves with a solid P3 in the Lexus. And again, a bigger gap once again to go back to our 4th place man. Again, he's just been minding his own business, keeping his head down on Wolfski. A brilliant drive nonetheless from him. A few cars coming to the line. Taylor in the end carrying for that 13th place position. Archer's going to come home for 14th. And Luke Saunders just behind him. But it's the man, his teammate just behind him. Wolfski comes home for a solid P4, a great job from him. Gabino with a P5 position, 5 different manufacturers in the top 5, which is great to see. Lamborghini, BMW, Lexus and Ferrari. Williams crossing the line in 16th in the end. Fandango finishing in 16th. Coming home now is Flores. Argent bringing in the rear in 20th position. Flores crossing the line in 7th. Bosch in 8th. And coming towards the end of this race, Craig in 9th. Betterson is lost out to Gary Leach, and then we've got Old Sim Racer as well. But Craig coming to the line now to complete your top 10. And again, what a drive from Langley. He's looked very competitive, he's looked very good here. Complete domination from himself, and a a brilliant drive from him. That is the end of the race. And now get the replay so we can get our highlights going in a few moments time. But guys, get your votes in for drivers of the day. And like I said, I'll be back in a few moments time when hopefully we should have some interviews with some drivers. So I'll just be right back in a few moments. There we go. We have the stream up and running for the feature race, and we do have a few drivers in the interview room at the moment. Hopefully we should have Andy should be able to come in and join us as well. But first things first, we will start with Sam, who's joined us in the box. Just make sure my comms box and everything is working. Unmute Sam. Sam, a night where we thought that the Lexus was going to be a bit of a struggle, but in the end, a P3 for yourself in the feature race and getting close to Vitas at the end there. In the end, mate, all in all, some good points.
No, mate, you was right in the first place. It was a struggle. It's not been it hasn't been an enjoyable race by any stretch of the imagination. The car is a nightmare. I got absolutely left behind by Vitas and Langley at the start. Langley was on another planet with his pace today. And then, to be fair, the only reason I got close to Vitas was because I chose not to take tyres and see if I could hopefully jump in front of him, which didn't quite work out. I've got no idea what happened to Vitas on that second spell. He came out the pits and he was horrendous. I don't know if he got his pit stop wrong somehow, or I didn't have his tyre temp sorted out. There was a few laps where I thought I might catch him, and then last 15 minutes the Lexus with our old tyres was horrific. I am sweating buckets, mate. It was really tough.
Yeah, obviously quite a warm day here in the UK as well, quite humid as well. Probably doesn't do any justice, but either way, you must have been shocked that obviously going into that you had also Varga and Leach in front of you. You had quite a few drivers around you as well. But in the end, a P3 for you, you've got to be happy with that. Very good points for yourself and Fandango once again for the team.
Yeah, to be honest, I qualified a bit better than I expected. Not really sure where that came from, and then made a couple of really good moves over the first few laps. To be fair, they were all squabbling in front of me. They kept making a few mistakes, and the beauty of the Lexus, when a car in front makes a mistake going into a straight, you know you're going to gobble them up, which was good. And there was no way they was going to come back after that. To be fair, I could get it around the S's just about. And yeah, had a really, really good 10-15 minutes at the start of the race when the tyres were good, and then just ended up with I think there was a couple of incidents behind me, so I had like a 30-second gap to the car behind, which just gave me the opportunity to take the chance on no tyres, and I knew they wasn't going to catch me behind as long as I didn't make any big mistakes, just to try and make it a little bit interesting. Didn't quite work out, but third is fantastic, and Fandango did a fantastic job to come back from where he qualified. He was back down in 16th, 17th. After a pretty poor quali. He missed the first 3 laps, had off tracks. So yeah, cracking result from him. We didn't have a good sprint race, the two of us, a couple of incidents and not very good finishes, but it was important to do well in the feature race and try and extend that lead in the championship. We really want to win this one.
Well, you do extend the championship as well with no gas, no glory, not having the best of nights. Next round, obviously, is another night race. We head to the United States for Laguna Seca. What's your thoughts around there, and how do you think the Lexus is going to get on there?
Yeah, I generally like the track, to be fair, and I don't mind night races. These are good for me. I've never actually driven a Lexus at Laguna, so not really sure. I'm really worried about how it's going to go through the corkscrews. It's going to be like driving a pig through there, to be fair. I expect it's going to be very similar. Vitas and Langley, they're in a class of their own at the moment. I expect them to be off out in front, and then it's just trying to be best of the rest. There was some good racing today. Some good pace as well. I have to shout out to Luke Saunders. I know he was a lap down, but I went past him under blue flags and I couldn't drop him. He had really good pace. So, you know, there's definitely other drivers in there. Wolski was another one that was quick today. Flores weren't bad. So there's a lot of us, and Gary Leach is on fire in that Porsche at the moment until the tyres go. There's quite a few of us vying for that kind of third, fourth, fifth, sixth positions. It's good racing at the moment. I'm really enjoying it.
Well, nonetheless, mate, a fantastic night and good job. And we'll see you in a week's time at Laguna.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, Dan.
No worries. We now move on to, obviously, seems to be the chat's number one man, a man who's excited to be in the Competizione the first time this season, and looks like it's going to be back-to-back driver of the day. Andy, what is with Suzuka? Because you have been on fire the last 2 days. Absolutely brilliant stuff, my friend.
I don't really know, you know. I don't know. I was a bit dubious anyway because it would be in the dark. So, but the dark, it wasn't. I mean, I've driven this track hundreds of times in the dark, but I don't know. The Giannetta last night, I found a decent setup. The car is not too bad to set up. It's pretty easy. And tonight, I thought I'd struggle a bit, but I mean, the first race, it just came to me. I mean, there was cars going off everywhere, and I just slipped through, and I was in second, and then I see first place veer off into the wall, and I thought, well, I'm first now. So I just held my pace. Didn't think I'd win it anyway, which I didn't. I mean, Mr. Langley, he's super fast, so there's no comparing my speed to that. He's so fast. Well done, Mr. Langley. Well done, Sam.
I do think there was
yeah.
I do think there was an opportunity for yourself to get the sprint win. Obviously, you left it to the very last minute to pit. If you pitted a little bit earlier, you could have got in front of him. And with the way Suzuka works, he would have struggled to get past you. But either way, you opted to go long, and it was a good race, and it was your first podium of the season. You've got to be happy with that. And then obviously another solid race too as well, with a top 10 finish. It's very, very good points, and it actually puts you now 9th in the championship. So really put you up the order.
Well, to be fair, I had a couple. I mean, I hit the back of Argent's car, which was unfortunate. He braked, I braked, I let off the brakes, then he braked again. So I just tapped him. I didn't smack him hard. And then I was racing Wolski up to the 130R side by side. I backed off and sat behind him, and then someone, I don't know, it was just rammed me straight up the backside, just spun me around, which gave me damage, but I just carried on. It wasn't too bad. And a big shout out to Skunky, to my race engineer, Mr. Tips, Gowley, who've been in the chat with them.
They've been incredibly supportive.
Yeah, and Aaron as well, Mr. Aaron Myers, he'll be up there watching, I'm sure, you know.
He is indeed. That's beautiful, mate.
It's great, you know. It's you know. I said to Tips yesterday, I'd love a top 10 race around here. I think I could get a top 10, and I got a top 10, and I got a second in the first race. So, you know, Dan, I'm happy, mate. I'm happy.
Beers are on you then, mate. Beers are on you. Next race. Next race is another night race. We head to Laguna. How do you think we're going to get on there?
Laguna's a totally different track. There's no light in there. It's yeah, we'll see how we get on. I mean, I'm going to say I'm going to be really bad there, and I might have a decent race. If I say, yeah, I'm going to be good there, I'll probably mess up. So, no, I think mid-pack probably. I'm not expecting to make it. But at the end of the day, I'll enjoy it, you know.
That's what it's all about, mate.
That's all about. Yeah, that's what it's all about, mate.
Exactly. Well, congratulations on your podium and your top 10 as well, mate. And we'll see you at Laguna next time out.
Yeah, no worries, Dan. Thank you very much. Cheers to all the guys. SimPlay Motorsport. Brilliant. Thank you.
And we now move to your race winner, Langley. Another night, another a dominant performance from yourself. Not quite the Grand Slam, one fastest lap just off, but Suzuka has been a phenomenal round for yourself, and there's not really much more you could have done there, really, is there?
Yeah, I mean, am I even allowed to say I'm upset that I didn't get that fastest lap point? I don't think so. But a double win, I couldn't be happier. Yeah, I've been sweating because I just want to win this championship. I don't want to put it up to luck in the final couple rounds. I want to just push as hard as I can right now, and especially I'm gonna be going into Laguna next week on no practice. I'm gonna be away from Thursday to Tuesday, gonna miss GT4s and then hop in Wednesday and hope I do the best. So if that's extra motivation to any of the grid to try to hip one off me, I highly encourage it. I love racing. Like I loved racing in the GT4s last night. I can't lie. I loved racing early in the season when I was around other people. I just didn't expect to have the improvement curve that I did. But yeah, it was a good sprint. I kept it clean in the first turn this time. Avoided the incident. No damage. Pitted first lap. Had clean air the entire way. And like you said, I feel if Aberdeen may have pitted a few laps earlier, or a couple laps earlier, he possibly could have come out ahead of me, and I would have had to overtake him, which you need a pretty massive delta at this track to overtake. But yeah, I just pushed clean air, messed up my fuel a little bit, but it was all good. And then the feature race, it was just about keeping the lead in the first corner. Vitas pulled a nose ahead, but I had the inside, and it's impossible to overtake around the outside first corner unless you're getting stacked up on the inside. So just held that, pushed. He came out the box. I thought he had new tires, but he was only 10 seconds behind me at the box. And when I looked later on in the race, and I lost 20 seconds since he came out the pit lane. So I wonder what happened. But no, congrats to Sam back on the podium, and massive congrats to Aberdeen, first podium of the season, and great racing in GT4s last night as well.
Obviously,
glad you're happy with that.
Well, obviously, we will leave Suzuka. We head back to your home country once again. We'll head into the United States. We're heading to Laguna Seca this time. Where does that rate for you in level for you? Do you like Laguna? Is it something you're looking forward to? Obviously, you know you're going to have very little practice, so I'm pretty sure Sam's already rubbing his hands together and telling the FBR boys to get the server changed ASAP so he can practice. But where does it rank for you?
I quite love the track. I mean, it's very difficult to get perfect, for sure. A lot of blind corners, blind braking zones, but it's very flowy, double apexes, long turns. I like the flowy nature of the track, especially through the corkscrew and after the corkscrew. There's a lot of different lines you can run, and there's a lot of dive bomb opportunities, so I expect some good racing next week. You can definitely run, well, some people getting a bad run out of the kink up to the corkscrew, and you can run different lines down the hill through the left and the right. So yeah, I'm hoping for some, especially in GT4s, hoping for some better racing this week for the stream than it was. It seemed like it was hard to overtake last night at all.
I mean, this stream was even worse, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's quite hard to overtake around Suzuka because stick a nose up 130R and you're both going off, and I just don't think anyone wants that. But and it's just hard to get a decent slipstream into any corner around here. So, but yeah, I quite love the track. I've driven it before. I like to call it an IndyCar track because that's probably the most I've watched it with. Not so much GT3s, but it's very fun to drive. Can sometimes be a problem with track limits, especially in the corkscrew going wide or final corner, sometimes at the kink as well. Sometimes can be a problem, but I'm still looking forward to it. I think it might be rough for me being a night race with no practice, but maybe I'll get some practice in tonight before I leave tomorrow. We'll see about that.
Either way, congratulations on another 2 race wins and the fastest lap. Shame you didn't quite get the Grand Slam, but nonetheless, congratulations, mate.
Appreciate it, Dan. Thank you. And congrats to both you, Sam and Andy.
And, just mute those guys for a minute as we now close things off here at Suzuka for the Pro-Ams. It's been a fantastic night worth of racing. Langley holds on to the championship lead, 71 points separating himself and Vitus at the minute. Vitus still has a good opportunity for points to come his way. It just takes Langley to have one bad round and he's back in this championship fight. And FQ Motorsport looking solid at the minute in that P1 position for the teams. It is now down to the pro drivers. Let's see what happens tomorrow night. Hopefully there'll be a bit more exciting racing, but from myself and the Pro-Ams, it has been a fantastic night's worth of racing. I've enjoyed it. It ended up being Aberdeen and Sam Greaves leveled on the driver of the day. Well, I'm going to then top that over by giving Aberdeen driver of the day. Another back-to-back fantastic night's worth of racing, and he gets 2 driver of the days. It's a shame he can't race pro because he might try and nab that one as well. But either way, it's been a fantastic night's worth of racing. I've been Dan Davis. This has been SimPlay Motorsport, and we shall catch you next week at Laguna Seca for another night race. See you then.